Good morning! We're off to go to the theater to link up with our shore excursion. Let's go! Welcome to the theater. This is the meeting point for many tours. We have to show our tickets and then get a sticker with a number on it. When the number on our sticker is called, we go to the elevators in the midship and get ready to disembark. Good morning. We're here in Colón, Panama. We've taken a 40-minute bus ride and now we're up about ready to go on Lake Gatun. It's been an adventurous morning. We ate breakfast and got onto the bus, and unfortunately my PICC line jammed up, so I do not have any TPN or anything, and I'm hoping really badly that my hypoglycemia doesn't act up, but I guess we'll see what we see, and hopefully everything goes really, really well. So that's been an update for now. We'll see you later. Bye. After traveling 40 minutes in a motor coach, we began our adventure. There was a very steep hill from the bus down to the lake. Thankfully, a golf cart took me down to the pier. This is Gatun Lake. It is an artificial lake created to help provide the fresh water needed for the Panama Canal. Ships are lifted in a series of 3 locks from sea level up 27 meters or 87 feet above sea level. Ships travel 24 kilometers or 15 miles across the lake. Then the ships use the Chagres River and other waterways. There are 3 locks which transport the ships back down to sea level. It takes about 12 hours for a ship to pass the 80 kilometers or 50 miles through the Panama Canal. We had a relaxing boat ride. We saw many birds. There was a beautiful blue heron. We stopped and looked at some trees. There were some monkeys in the trees, but it was very difficult to see. We then saw a white egret. I was very tired looking up at the trees. I forgot to take my glasses and my eyes were becoming fatigued. We continued around the lake. We saw some beautiful plants. The tour guide kept promising we would see monkeys. After a long morning, I decided to eat a banana and hoped the scent of my banana might attract a monkey. Behold, right after eating a banana, a sloth was seen in the trees. It was very hard to see the baby, but there was a baby with its mom.
During the day, like now they are active looking for food. They sleep approximately 18 hours a day. It's the second slowest animals in the world. Turtle faster than the sloth. Just the snail are slower than the sloth.
As we were ending the tour, we saw other people from our cruise ship. People were going kayaking and looking for wildlife. After the long boat ride, I was overjoyed to have a seat in the golf cart to go back to the top of the hill and meet our bus. Hello, we're back from the lake. We had a fantastic time seeing many different animals. Now we're back on board the bus and about ready to go back to Cologne, back to the cruise ship terminal, and back to air conditioning. That's a bit of an update. Bye for now. Panama has its own currency, but the United States dollar is frequently used. Spanish is the national language, but there has been a big push in the last 10 years to make its citizens bilingual. English is taught in the schools for 15 hours a week. Ciudad Sol is the richest neighborhood in Panama. Many people who own the large shops near the cruise ship terminal, as well as those who have financial holdings, live in this exclusive neighborhood. It is the only gated community in Panama. These homes used to be owned by the American military. The Americans helped manage and maintain the Panama Canal. After the United States gave up control of the Panama Canal to the country of Panama, the homes were released to the government of Panama. Panama then sold the homes to its citizens. These rainbow-colored homes used to be required to be painted silver by the government. This village was called Silver City. The government then lifted the restriction and allowed the homes to be painted any color. The village is now called Rainbow City. This is the jail. It is one of the worst-looking facilities I've ever seen. The jail is supposed to house 3,000 inmates. Currently, there are 12,000 prisoners. They are packed into the jail cells like sardines in a can. There is no air conditioning and a large cemetery is out back. This is the Atlantic Bridge. It spans the Atlantic entrance to the Panama Canal. It was completed in 2019. It is the third bridge over the canal after the Bridge of the Americas and the Centennial Bridge, both of which are on the Pacific side of the canal. The Atlantic Bridge helps link North and South America. From the bridge, a person can see some of the traffic on the Panama Canal. We stopped at the very top of the bridge. I was amused. Right outside my window, there was a sign which read, "No stopping." There are the new locks and the old locks. The new locks began operation in June 2016. They can allow for transit of larger new Panamax ships. The old locks are still used by smaller shipping vessels. Annual traffic on the canal exceeds 15,000 vessels a year. Good afternoon. Boy, has it been a long day. Let me go back to this morning. This morning, we were running okay on time. I was using my nebulizer and suddenly it seemed as though I was really late for breakfast. I ran down to breakfast, quick got something to eat, and came back to the room. Unfortunately, our cabin steward was in the room cleaning the room. I waited and waited for him, and finally my mom said, "We need to go." So we interrupted the cabin steward, raced in, grabbed our items, and went off to the movie theater to meet up with our groups. Once at the theater, I realized I did not have a lot of supplies for my TPN. When I looked through my bag that I take with me, here it is, I realized it was almost all trash. I had used it in Colombia and I had forgot to replenish my supplies. So instead of having all my supplies, I had empty vials of heparin and saline and empty alcohol swabs. I was really upset and I wanted to go back to the room, but I knew they were going to call our group to go on the shore excursion, so I did not go. I only had one saline flush, and if you don't know anything about the saline flushes, this is a saline flush and you need to flush this in order to connect your TPN and to run your TPN. Since I went to breakfast, I quickly disconnected my TPN because it's very dangerous being around people with food and everything that they will run into you and possibly disconnect my TPN, so I always disconnect it in the morning. While at the theater, I used my saline flush to reconnect my TPN. It was running fine. I thought, okay, great. I don't have to worry about not having any more saline flushes. Then we get onto the bus, and as I'm getting onto the bus and sit down, all of a sudden, my TPM pump starts beeping. It goes beep, beep, beep. I'm going, what's wrong? I wonder what's wrong. I look and it says downline occlusion, which means there's something blocking my PICC line. I am panicked. I do not have any more saline flushes. I do have a couple heparin flushes. Heparin flushes are used to keep the line patent to prevent blood clots from forming, but you're not supposed to use them as flushes. I took a heparin flush because that was the only thing I had and tried to get it through my PICC line, but it wouldn't move. And I was going, oh no, this was just working. Why aren't you moving? I'm trying and trying, and I can barely get a little bit of heparin through the line. So I disconnect, and then I frantically get another heparin flush out and try the other lumen on my PICC line. I try and try and try, and I can't get anything through the lumen, and I'm dreading it. I'm going, oh no, I think my PICC line just failed. There must be a blood clot or something in the line. So I am almost crying on the bus. I am so upset. Here we are, we're going on a long journey, and I don't have any food and very little water with me. And I know my blood sugar is going to drop. It's very warm in Panama today, and I knew my body would not tolerate that very well. So I'm trying the best I can to not cry on the trip to the lake. When we get to the lake, I quickly film the intro to this video as I'm waiting in line to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, wash my hands, and then just pray. I have one heparin flush left. And I pray to God, I say, okay, this is it. I need this line to work. I sit down on the ground, I connect it up, and I try to force it really hard. And amazingly, it just flushes real easily. And the PICC line had opened up and it was working beautifully. So I hook up my TPN and just keep praying that it works. I move my arm and it says there's a downline occlusion. So I immediately move my arm back and it works. And so for the rest of the trip, I just keep my arm perfectly straight and go, okay, don't move, don't move. So that crisis was averted. Then once we were on the boat, I cannot see very well in the distance. So for this reason, I brought on the trip my glasses. And because we were very rushed this morning, I forgot to take my glasses with me. So I had a very hard time seeing anything in the distance. But it wasn't that big of a deal because there wasn't a lot to see. There were a couple birds and we saw two sloths, so there wasn't a lot to see. And then also, I was going to do some great shots. I have this really nice tripod my dad gave me, and I was brought along specifically for this shore excursion. And of course, what did I do? I left it in our room. I was so upset, but what can you do? So I tried to steady the camera as best as I could, but as you can see, I have a tremor in my hand, so I tried really, really hard. And I hope and pray the video is okay and the pictures are okay. And then we got back to the ship. And now here's something really embarrassing. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. We get back to the ship and I race into the bathroom and I don't look, but the bathroom has toilet lids over the toilet seats. And I just go and plunk down. And I plunked down right on top of the toilet lid. I'm very grateful I didn't start going because it would have been a big mess. So instead I was like, oh, and I went and did my thing with the toilet seat up. When we got back to the room, I decided I was going to take a shower. I was only going to take one shower during this trip, so I perfectly planned it in the middle of our trip. I go to open up my supplies for the shower, and somewhere during the trip, I think it was probably on the airplane, my shampoo bottle opened up and spilled shampoo all over my bag. And my conditioner bottle had shampoo on it, and it was just everywhere, except there was none in the bottle. And I couldn't believe it. I'm going, there is none in this bottle. How am I going to shower? So I take my hands and rub it in the bag, and then I take my hands and go like this. So my dry hair, and I'm just trying to put the shampoo in my dry hair. And then when I get in the shower, I carefully get under the water and get a little bit of water and try to get my hair a little bit wet. And then I take the bottom of my hair, get it wet, and dip it in there. Well, thankfully that worked. I had enough shampoo to get through the shower. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have any more shampoo to try to do that because it was all over everything. And so I was very grateful that worked. And then unfortunately, something was wrong with our shower. It's been working okay, but today it plugged up and then it was a giant flood in our bathroom. And I'm very grateful I decided not to put anything on the floor except some towels, and all the towels were soaked. So I'm not sure what happened with the shower, but this was just another series of things that have gone wrong today. But I'm grateful I'm done with showering for this trip, and I won't have to deal with that and won't have to deal with any more showering until I get home. So that has been my day so far. I'm trying to go up to Sail Away, which is at 6 p.m. I really want to go see that, and hopefully we can see some of the locks and see some of the wildlife from the ship dock. That's my plan, and then afterwards go to supper and then go to sleep because we have a very early morning tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be in Costa Rica. I am so excited. We're going on a railroad, so I can hardly wait to go on that. So that's been my day so far. As we sailed away from the pier, we had a panoramic view of Colón, Panama, and the Panama Canal. Ships line up as far as the eye can see. The ships can wait up to 7 days to pass through the Panama Canal. There is a special exception to this. Cruise ships are allowed to cut in line and avoid waiting. The cost for passing through the Panama Canal varies. It can be as little as $6 if you wish to swim through the canal, or as much as $375,600, which was paid by a cruise ship. On average, the toll is $54,000. The toll must be paid in full before being able to pass through the canal. The ships continue far out into the sea, waiting to go through the Panama Canal. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye. Stay tuned for next week. It is day 8 and we're in Costa Rica. We take a ride on a vintage railroad and visit a banana plantation. I forget my passport and have to get through immigration with no identification. Then I get overheated and pass out at the cruise port. It is quite a day. Hello, we had a fantastic time going around the lake. We found a lot of... Hello, we had a fantastic time going around the lake. Now we're back on board the bus and about ready to go back to the Colón.